What's up guys, Ninth Gym here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be talking about some more really powerful Pokemon that are dominating the early VGC scene. These Pokemon aren't dominating quite to the extent that the things like Fluttermane Chi-Yu and Dondozo Tatsugiri are doing, which I covered yesterday. If you haven't seen that yet, you should definitely watch that video. But I think all of these Pokemon have a really solid usage stat and are very, very strong, and all of these are Pokemon that I was seeing doing really well in tournaments, in the single elimination tournaments, in the Gen 9 Battle Stadium doubles. The first Pokemon I want to talk about is Roaring Moon. It's one of the best Paradox Pokemon. It's a Dragon Dark typing Pokemon, which is solid, but it does have that 4 times weakness to Fairy, which is really bad because Fluttermane, but you can Terra type out of that if you're really afraid of it. And what I've seen is a lot of Terra type flying to make the acrobatics just absolutely ridiculous. And you also have access to a really strong move in Breaking Swipe, a very strong stab move, Dragon Stab move, that is also kind of an Intimidate. It lowers both opponents' Pokemon by attack by 1, which is really solid. This Pokemon also has access to Dragon Dance as well, which is really good, and you usually will carry Protect. You'll usually use Booster Energy to proc the Photosynthesis, and it'll usually be Attack because this thing is hitting really hard physically attacking. Also, a really notable thing here is this Pokemon learns Tailwind, which I think I'd probably use over Dragon Dance in most scenarios, but Dragon Dance is pretty good too. Also, another thing that you might just want to use is a strong stab move for Dark. Something like Crunch could land, or Throat Chop, something like that. Next, we have Garganacl, which I initially thought this Pokemon was kind of bad, but now I've seen it really doing a lot in multiple different scenarios, and I think this Pokemon's actually solid. I've seen it used in a couple different strats, and I've also seen it just used as this annoying Iron Defense Salt Cure Leftovers Pokemon that can honestly take some 1v2s and 1v3s. So it has the ability Purifying Salt, which also means it can't be statused, which is really good because Will-O-Wisp and Spore and Sleep Powder, all of those moves are going to be in the meta. Being able to switch this thing into an incoming Spore is crazy. Iron Defense Body Press is really solid, you're doing a lot of damage here, and Salt Cure is a really good Leech Seed that deals damage. And we'll usually be running Protect because of the Salt Cure Leftovers stuff. It makes sense. Now, this Pokemon also gets Recover, which is a really big deal, and it also gets Explosion for the Dondozo Flamigo strats, if you want to go that route. We're going to be talking about Gholdengo next, and I don't have a lot of stuff to say about this Pokemon just yet, but I think it's really good. It has the ability Good as Gold, which is very solid, obviously. This Pokemon is immune to status moves. That's insane. I mean, that's insane. Once again, switch in against Spore. Pretty broken. I've seen people Terra typing away from Ghost Steel, but I could also just see Terra typing into Mono Steel for a 2-time stab on Make It Rain. I think there's more to be said here about Gholdengo, and I definitely want to explore this Pokemon more in the meta. I think it's really good. Next, we're going to be talking about Great Tusk, and I think this is a pretty slept-on Paradox Pokemon. It has a solid typing of ground fighting and giving it a good range of strong stab moves, but it also, I've been seeing people using it with the Terra type Steel. Now, ground fighting has a lot of weaknesses, and Steel has completely different weaknesses. So this is a very solid defensive Terra type, while also giving you stab to a really strong move in Iron Head. You're probably going to be photosynthesizing into physical attack because, like, that's a really high base physical attack. I definitely think it's a solid Pokemon. Next, we're going to be talking about another slept-on Paradox Pokemon, Iron Bundle. I think this is really solid as well. Ice Water is an interesting type, and I think it could Terra type away potentially, but you can also just Terra type it and, you know, double stab, which is really good. And it can get really strong with Icy Winds, which is really cool. I haven't seen much of Iron Bundle yet, but what I have seen has actually surprised me. I've been seeing it with like Hydro Pump and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's definitely an interesting Pokemon, and I want to see it more in the meta. Next we have Palafin, and this is another really interesting new Pokemon that has a really unique mechanic in Zero to Hero. And whenever it's switched out, it turns into its hero phase, which is really strong. I mean, this Pokemon's stats are absurd, like actually absurd. Good bulk in 100 HP, 97 defense, 87 special defense, very well rounded. And also look at the attack, 160 on a base 100 speed, not bad at all. Once you also add in the fact that it gets a new move called Jet Punch, which is Aqua Punch on steroids. And it also has access to flip turn. So if you don't even want to just like manually switch out, you can go for a flip turn with the regular guy and just you hit flip turn, switch it out, bring in something else. And then when you bring in Palafin later, you have really ridiculous jet punches. And you can also just Terra type this into water and you have 2x stab jet punch. That's pretty good. We got 5 more Pokemon to talk about. We're going to start it off with Brute Bonnet. This is a really crazy, really interesting new Pokemon here that we have access to. It's a Moongus that can deal damage, which is weird, but really good. I think this is going to be a shoo-in for a lot of different Trick Room teams. However, Amoonguss has a really low speed stat that still makes the, Spore under Trick Room really good. But you have the thing about Brute Bonnet, which is this attack stat, which is really, really good. All that together with its really solid bulk, 111 HP, 99 defense, and 99 special defense, it's tanking a lot of hits. It also has Stab Sucker Punch, which is really good on a base 127 attack. Well, I haven't explored much of Brute Bonnet, but what I've seen has impressed me. Iron Hands, we talked about this a little bit in the video yesterday, same with Chien-Pao, but I still want to just highlight them a little bit more. Its special defense is not that great, and speed is also not that great, but this makes it really good for a Trick Room team, and it also makes it really strong with things like the Chien-Pao, because that 140 attack, plus that 25 reduction of damage, or reduction of defense, is really good. You have Fake Out, you have really strong stab moves like Close Combat and Wild Charge, and you even have a way to heal with Drain Punch. You're probably going to have to use Booster Energy unless you want to put this like on a team with Pinsir Chin. Probably not. Booster Energy it is. So I think Iron Hands is definitely a really strong Pokemon. The fact that it gets Fake Out on top of like its really good stats, I think this Pokemon's crazy. Chien-Pao, on the other hand, is a very, very fast, strong special attacker. Physical attacker, and it has the ability Sword of Ruin, which reduces all Pokemon by 25% defense. Really makes this thing attack really hard. I think this is going to be a shoo-in for hyper offense teams. Things like Dragapult can love this Pokemon. Iron Hands can love this Pokemon. Jet Punch Palafin can love this Pokemon. We also have Sucker Punch, that's stab. You also have access to Sacred Sword, which is really good against Dondozo. So I think Chien-Pao is definitely going to fit on a lot of teams. Killowatrell is a Pokemon that I kind of brushed off thinking, its stats overall were really, really frail. But a 125 speed Tailwind user that charges when it uses Tailwind, it's kind of cool. I really like it actually. You have Tailwind, it charges Wind Power, Powerful, Stab, Thunderbolt, and potentially Volt Switch. This Pokemon has access to some other stuff as well, but with it being charged, you kind of just want to click an electric type move. Not as good as Zapdos, but it's definitely good. The last Pokemon we're going to be talking about today is Ting-Lu, and I think this Pokemon is interesting, and also like the other one, what was it? The other one's Wo-Chien. These are both interesting because they lower the attack and special attack of other Pokemon. Ting-Lu is a little bit more, thought of than Wo-Chien because of how powerful Flutter Mane and Torkoal and Chi-Yu are, but I still think Wo-Chien is really good too. So these Pokemon, I definitely expect them to be in the meta somewhat, but I don't expect them to see the playability of the other, Chien-Pao and Chi-Yu. But I think they're still really good. Let me know in the comments down below, are there other Pokemon that are really powerful, new Pokemon that I haven't talked about yet? Hope you have a good day. You like the points. Hope you have a good day, and goodbye.